Hi, this is Dave Blackman with Positive Negatives, and in this short video I want to show you how you can resize your images for digital competitions or perhaps social media uploads, or maybe you just want to print some images. So we're going to start here in Adobe Lightroom, and the first thing you want to do before you size your images is you want to make sure you crop your images to where you want it. And to do a crop in Lightroom, if you move over here to this little crop icon, and it says crop overlay when you hold your mouse on top of it, if you click your mouse, you're going to see some grids pop up here. And if you look over here, you see a padlock that's locked and it says original. And what that means is that if you move any of the four lines or any of the corners, you're going to keep the same aspect ratio of your original image. Now, if you want to crop independently, if you want to be able to move each line independently, unlock the padlock. And then you can move a little bit this way if you want, and you can move a little bit this way if you want, and all four edges will move independently. Now, let's say you're going to print and you want to make an 8x10 or a 5x7. Well, when you go to this drop-down box where it says custom, you will see different aspect ratios. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean you're going to make a 4x5 or an 8x10, but you're going to want to crop in the aspect ratio so you can make a 4x5 or an 8x10 or a 16x20 or a 32x40 and so on without having to do any more cropping. If you want to make an 8.5x11 or anything with the same aspect ratio, you click here. If you want to make a 5x7 or a 10x14 or a 20x28, you would crop here. Okay, so let's say you want to make an 8x10. You would click right here. And now what happens is anytime you move any of these edges, it will keep that 8x10 aspect ratio. So let's say you wanted to make an 8x10. Let's try something like this. Okay, we wanted to make an 8x10, let's say of this. Once you have your image in this area, you can either hit done at the bottom, or you can double click, and there you have your image. Now, we didn't size it yet. All we did was tell Lightroom, hey, we want to make an 8x10 or a 4x5 or any other size that matches that aspect ratio. So how do you actually get the size? So we're going to go over here to File, and we're going to go to Export. That's where you put in the size you want, is as you're saving the image. Now, there's no save or save as in this menu. Lightroom calls it Export. So we're going to click Export. And what's going to happen is when you export your image, when you decide where you're going to send it, down here is the box that says image sizing. So let's say you want to make an 8x10 print. First of all, when you make a print, you're going to want the resolution to be 300. Some printers may suggest 360, some printers may suggest 240. It all depends on your printer or the printer you're sending it to. I always recommend you call your printer and ask them what resolution they're looking for. Also ask them which file format they're looking for. They may not want a JPEG, they may want a TIFF, they may want a PNG, and you're also going to want to check with them to see what color space they want you to send your picture to them in, okay? So remember, if you're using an outside printer, find out what file type they're looking for, what image format they're looking for, and what color space they're looking for. So let's get back to sizing. So we cropped that picture as an 8x10 aspect ratio. So if we actually wanted to make an 8x10, we're going to change the resolution to 300 pixels per inch. We're going to change our measurements to inches, and we can select many things. If we select the short edge and we say make the short edge 8 inches, well, we know it's automatically going to make the long edge 10 inches because that's the aspect ratio we picked. If we say make the long edge 10 inches, then we know the short edge is going to be 8. If you want to make a 4x5, if we say make the long edge 5 inches, then we know the short edge is going to be 4 inches. If we want to make a 16x20, we can say make the long edge 20, and we know the short edge is going to be 16. Let's say you're sending this in for a digital competition, and the rules say that the long edge can't be more than 1024 pixels. So what we want to do is we want to change the measurements, the units, to pixels. And we want to change the resolution to 72. You don't need to send a 300 ppi image for anything that's going to be digital or up on the internet. A 72 ppi image looks no different than a 300 ppi image. But a 72 ppi image is smaller, it's quicker to send, it's easier to download or to upload, or to just appear on a screen when you're looking at something digitally. So if a competition says, hey, the long edge can't be more than 1024, so take the unit of measurement and say the long edge is 1024. And whatever the short edge needs to be, it'll adjust automatically. So again, most competitions tell you that the long edge can't be any longer than 1024 pixels. So under resize to fit, put long edge 1024 pixels by 72 ppi. So here we are in Photoshop. And once I have my image in Photoshop and I've done all my cropping like I showed you in Lightroom, then I'll go over here to image and I'll go to image size. Okay, now let's say I'm going to print. I'm going to change my pixels over here to inches, and I'm going to keep my resolution at 300 pixels per inch. And if I want my width to be, let's say 10 inches, I'll type in 10 and my height automatically adjusts. If I want my height to be 8 inches, then my width automatically adjusts. Now, if I want to save this for digital competition, again, I'm going to change the resolution first. You always want to change the resolution first. I'm going to change the resolution to 72 pixels per inch. I'm going to go back to pixels, not inches now. Now, if I want to save this for digital competition and it needs to be no longer than 1024 at the longest edge, well, here's my width and my height. I see my width is the longest edge. If I type in 1024, it'll automatically put in the correct height. So here I am, 1024 by 684, which just happens to be the height of this aspect ratio, at 72 pixels per inch. And then I hit OK. And now my image is going to size. I can go back and open this up 100%. And here's an image that's 1024 pixels wide by the height that it needed to be. And now I can go ahead and send this in for digital competition.